Hello, everyone. Buenas noches. Gracias por haber venido a todos vosotros. Y vamos a intentar movernos lo más rápidamente posible para que salga Jon cuanto antes. Everything is going to be spoken in English. I think you'll have the little translation. So my name is Rocío Ayuso. I'm a foreign correspondent, I'm a writer, I'm a producer, and I'm also a member of the Golden Globes for almost 30 years. And what I'm very glad is to be here tonight with all of you for this great evening. First of all, I want to thank the Academy for allowing us the pleasure to meet with two great filmmakers. Jon M, who will bring us some exclusive clips from Wicked for Good, and also Pablo Berger, who will be our host of honor in this dialogue about movies, about music, and about everything else. So, en español, la única clarificación que quiero hacer es recordar antes que nada que está prohibido el uso de dispositivos electrónicos durante este acto. Para los despistados, tendremos unos maravillosos caballeros asegurándose de que nadie graba nada. Por favor, seguid esas reglas. Y tampoco contéis en las redes sociales lo que vamos a ver. Son clips exclusivos, no se han visto antes y necesito agua. Y entonces queremos no fastidiarle la sorpresa a nadie. Entonces, por favor, no reservar ese secreto. Now in English, exactly the same. Friendly reminder that the use of electronic devices is prohibited, so please put your electronic devices away. We have this lovely gentleman, they are the same as before, in the room that will be watching. And please also refrain from reviewing any exclusive material you are about to see. As movie lovers, we don't want to spoil the experience for the audience to come. So enjoy. So we will open at the end the floor for questions, both in English and Spanish. Jon will have a translation, so whoever wants to speak in Spanish, you will get the questions, and I will get the water. So, without further ado, a glass of water for me. Just a second. I'm sorry. And now, with the water, let me start to introduce my partner in crime for this evening, our host of honor, and also a great ambassador of Spanish cinema, Pablo Berger. He's a great filmmaker, and is a personal friend of many battles. Pablo, like Jon, has walked the yellow brick road, something that none of us have done, so they have the privilege to have done it. His career is diverse in themes, techniques, and all of them show the love for music. Anyone who saw Robot Dreams, I bet you that left the cinema dancing, either like a robot or like a Labrador. But I bet you that you were dancing to the tune of Earth, Wind and Fire. So please welcome Pablo Berger.
Gracias. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias. Thank you, Pablo.
Thank you for the presentation.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for being here. And also now, you will be the host in this conversation with none other than the visionary director, Jon M. But in order to set up the mood, let's start with a first look clip of Wicked for Good. So let's roll it.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Hi, everybody. Good crowd.
So I know that he doesn't need introduction, but yes, still I'm going to do it. So our guest grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area, fueled by a passion for both a good meal, thanks to your parents' restaurant,
yes,
but also thanks to your parents, you learned to enjoy the spectacle of a good musical, of the music, because they took you a lot to the opera and to musical and to theater. Mm-hmm. That early and rich exposure to music and drama, together with your limited passion for cinema that we were just talking about, laid the groundwork for a truly visionary career. And I say it honestly, in Hollywood, and I hope all around the world.
Thank you.
So he reinvented the romantic comedy with the global sensation, Crazy Rich Asians, an adorable movie, and proved his art in the field of dance and music on a screen with his critically acclaimed adaptation of Lin-Manuel Miranda in The Heights. If you haven't seen it, you must. And now, he brings us the spectacular conclusion, Wicked for Good. The first part of this epic adaptation achieved an incredible 10 Academy Awards, not bad.
Not bad.
Nominations, not bad, and a monumental testament to your vision. Honestly, well done.
Thank you.
So let's go straight into this, and please just jump into any question. But first things first, where does it come, this musical influence in you? I mean, what are the musicals that have influenced you? What is your heart in music?
Well, first of all, I'm so honored to be interviewed by you and
Thank you.
as a part of this. It's truly an honor, and I feel lucky to be here. It's my first time in Madrid, so I'm here only for a day. But next time, he promised he's going to take me out. So
Yep.
Yes.
'cause
I
I like
take
to
him
eat.
around.
I like to eat. I like music, and that's the same, right? We like. You know, I grew up, like you said, in a Chinese restaurant in California, and my parents came to that country with dreams and hopes. And it was the 80s in the Silicon Valley where engineers were revered at the time, where anyone could change the world. No one was on the cover of magazines yet. No one was rich there yet. It was just about this idealism. And America is this great, beautiful place to follow your dreams. And I'm the youngest of 5 kids. My parents wanted us to be as engulfed in the culture as possible. And they loved movies, and they loved TV, and they loved musicals. So they would take us to the city every weekend, and it was either ballet season, opera season, or musical season.
Or musicals,
Music,
yeah,
yes.
of course.
And I remember us watching movies all the time. E.T. in the theater, I remember just being blown away and being taken to another place. And John Williams' music. I used to listen to soundtracks all the time. Hans Zimmer's Power of One soundtrack, I listened to over, and I couldn't believe that music can make you escape in this way. And we used to watch Sound of Music and Cabaret at home. And so we was a very odd Chinese house, to be honest. The other Chinese families would be like, what the hell is going
Are they
on
listening
here?
to?
And my mom made me take tap classes growing up because, my sisters were all had to take dance. So she was like, you're in the car with me. You have to take a class. And I was like, I don't want to do ballet. Although now I wish I did ballet because I would have better posture. But so I would take tap with my sister. And so I did that for like 12 years.
Yeah.
But it was the theater kids. It was, I was in Pacific Overtures as a kid with Mako, this amazing actor, an all-Asian musical event that Sondheim did. So I was surrounded by it, and I loved it. It was an event every year. And then I got the camera in my hand. Only because my parents didn't want to carry the giant camera on vacation, so they handed it to me. And the moment I looked into that lens, I could, everything cleared away. You know, I played instruments, drums, saxophone, violin, guitar. I'm not good at any of them. I could draw. I loved to draw. I wasn't good at drawing, but I could express myself through it, but I wasn't good at it. I loved music, but I didn't know what to... And but with the camera and with editing, it suddenly all came together, and it showed me that this tool actually brought something out of me that I never... It was my new pencil. And when I could zoom in on something, I could make an observation about something. And when you're the youngest of 5, no one really listens to you. But when you have a camera, when you have a camera in your hand, everyone wants to talk to you. And I could zoom in on, the way your foot is moving. And I could show somebody. And they could be right there with me of what I observed. Or they could see how you're shuffling in your seats or how you're all staring at that. It's like, I thought those observations made me feel so powerful in that. And when I showed my parents a cut I did of our, of a family vacation, I cut it together to like music, oldies music, like Motown. They started crying when they watched it. Because it was all those American dreams that they had, watching television. We were in the box. And it was our family. And right when they started to cry, I was hooked.
Yeah. Wonderful. Did you already have the camera? Because I believe there is a coincidence connected with Wicked, that you actually saw the first production of Wicked in San Francisco at the, allow me to mispronounce the name, Current Theater?
At the Current Theater, yeah.
The Current
Yeah,
Theater.
yeah.
Were you already at the cinema school? It was before. When was that? And what was the impact of watching that musical 20 years ago?
Yeah.
I mean, did you ever dream that you were going to do it?
No, we tried many years. They never called us back. But I had seen, so crazy. I was going to USC Film School, and my mom had gone through chemotherapy the year before, so she couldn't go out for a long time. My mom's very social, so she couldn't go to shows. And then a year, sort of as she was recovering, she called me. She's like, I can go out now. and there's a new show in the city, and we haven't gone. Let's go. It's Stephen Schwartz's new musical based off of The Wizard of Oz. And The Wizard of Oz meant so much to our family. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm there. So I flew back. This was 2003, I think, or 2 maybe. And I went back, and I got to have this beautiful experience with my mother watching a musical again. But I was blown away by watching this. One, it took this childhood story that I had known and loved and believed in, this fairy tale, and turned it upside down. And I remember every moment that blew me away. It didn't feel like a show on stage. I felt like I could see the whole thing. And I always thought, oh, wow, someone's going to make a great movie of this one day. I never knew 22 years later it would be me, ever. But I also was going through a lot at that time, because when you go to college, as you know, you're letting go of friends that you used to know, that you grew up with. And that's a big change for you. Did those friendships mean anything? Was that just because we're not in the same city, does that have value to me? And so I was struggling with that. And then you go into the big city and you're trying to get into this business that you don't fit in, or that nobody really wants you in, or it feels like that. And so I was questioning all the things of like, oh, they said I was good at filmmaking. I'm not good. I look at all these great people here. And so I was a lot questioning the stories I was told when I was a kid. So it all sort of accumulated in this moment. So I remember very clearly how the show made me feel, not necessarily about Wizard of Oz, but about my own life. Yeah. And so I've always held that very close to me. Yeah.
Actually, if you don't mind, I will include both of you, Pablo and Jon, in the next question, because there is something that I read. I mean, he also wrote a book, so you do everything, and you do it very well.
I have 5 kids myself now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, my wife, really.
Well, you help a little bit.
Yeah. About half. Yeah,
tiny.
Yeah.
Viewfinder. When I was reading snippets of Viewfinder, you talk a lot about the imposter syndrome. Like, you never believe that you really deserve that place or that moment. It really struck me, because it's something that we all feel, but when we see you both directing something, everything is cool. You feel that everything is cool. So I wonder, I mean, you also had to move from here to America.
Yeah.
You study in NYU in New York. So, I mean, that imposter syndrome, did it follow you when you have to rearrange your life again? And was filming putting the end to that imposter syndrome? I mean, such a big achievement, like doing Wicked. I mean, an epic musical. Did it stop the imposter syndrome? Did you ever have the imposter syndrome?
Well, first of all, I want to welcome to the Academy. I'm an Academy member. There are many Academy members here. They're film students. They're a very eclectic crowd. So I also want to envy me a little bit, because we've seen the film. You know, we are here together.
We are special. We are special.
So I just want to start with that, because here the protagonist is the film. You know, we are here to help the film. But if you love Wicked, you are gonna love Wicked for good. You know, it's amazing film. It's spectacular. And she introduced him as a visionary. Yeah. I take off my hat.
No,
Jon.
No.
It truly, he's In the Heights, Crazy Rich Asians.
I will do something like that.
We can do that.
So, thank you for coming, and it's a pleasure. You're with us. And imposter syndrome, all directors, we are imposters. You know, that's why we have all these people helping us. We always feel like we are not good enough, ready to, and we both been nominated for the Oscar. You had 10, I only had 1, but I honestly, when I was at the ceremony, I felt an imposter, because I didn't even know I was part of the ceremony. Only when Chris Hemsworth and Annie, I think it was Ann Taylor, just said, and the nominees are, and suddenly I'm saying my name and my film. I felt like, okay, it's happening. So you had 10 nominations, and your films are global. How do you feel imposter?
I mean, I think you're right. I think that's our fuel.
Yeah,
I hope we never lose that.
Yeah.
What do they say? You always have to have a horizon line, but you always have to have something chasing you.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something I had to embrace over time, because you think it may go away, but they also say that I think true confidence is knowing your faults and your errors and your gaps in your brain, but at the same time still loving yourself. for that. To me, so I feel more confident as a human being since beginning. I mean, usually when I drive up to the lot, they're like, deliveries are over there. And so I'm like, oh, well, I try to wear nicer clothes so that doesn't happen anymore. But that, and every day on set, you're the director, but you are a person and with life around you, and the only thing you just have to capture in this one moment, and life is happening so fast, and the sun is dropping, and the people are coming up with new ideas, and you're like, wait, no, and you're struggling, and the camera's not doing it right, and you're trying to be like, should I stay strong or should I change the shot? And so you are ground zero human being at that point. So I love shooting because and then I go home and I got to change a diaper and
take the garbage out.
Take the garbage out, and my wife's like, I don't work for you, you know that, right?
Yeah.
Like, So I just think the whole arc of being a director, you have all these phases, and I love that, but I embrace the moments when I feel like, oh, the audience doesn't believe in me, or oh, that person doesn't believe in me. Like I feel like that's a great test. Or this is going to be a good chapter in my book one day. That's how I feel.
Of course. We had the chance to talk before, some other times, and you have mentioned before that some of the biggest lessons in your life you have learned from movies. I never was clear if you learned it from other movies or in your own movies. But in this case in particular, I wanted to know, what have you learned from Wicked?
Wicked's been a long journey. It's been 5+ years. In those 5 years, we've had 3 children. In those 5 years...
What have you learned from the 3 children?
I learned I'm a lover, not a hater. That's weird, sorry.
It is great. Don't worry.
We
are in family, movie family.
Children. You have production children.
We do. One's named Heights because he was born. My second child's named Heights. So anyway, I missed my premiere last year because of Stevie.
Yeah, I
Stevie
remember.
was born that day. Nothing better than missing your premiere, to have the birth of your little daughter, your youngest daughter. I learned a lot. I was so scared going into it, and you learn to deal with it. And I think that's just mostly what we have to do, deal with it. Yeah. I learned that I'm built for it. I learned that the process is everything. You intellectually understand, oh yes, of course, the process. But when the fire is on and the knives are out right outside your door, and you are working with actors and they have ideas and you have this vision and you have to not control, especially a movie of this size, you actually almost can't control it. You have to surrender to it, and you have to do all the prep work. And this is a musical, so you have to get the music right, the orchestrations right, the lyrics have to line up, the where it is in the script has to line up, the movement connected to that, how you shoot it, where do the visual effects start, and where the set ends has to be right. Now people who love Wizard of Oz are like, you better not do that, you better do this, and so all these things are colliding in. You have no choice but to surrender to the movie gods and say, here's where I think we can make this movie, and I'm going to gather our group together, and I need you all to be storytellers. Costumes, I don't want you to just tell me what you're making. I'm going to tell you what the story point we're trying to get. Earnestness or a yearning of something, or loneliness. And production design, you tell me, how do we communicate yearning? And he said, okay, what if we build the thing? I'm like, great. And then costumes, okay, what colors do we need to, camera? And so I just think actually trusting the process, because you're forced to, is something I learned very deeply in this, and even the actors, and that at some point the movie does speak back to you, and you better be aware to listen. Because if you're just, and maybe I take this back, because other directors just know, and they go, and they just do it, I think. I don't know, I haven't been to a lot of sets. But
so they say.
So they say. And that kind of genius, I'm just not that person. I discover things, and I like that. It works for me. So it's sort of painful. But I've learned that. It's like, I can trust my instincts. I can trust. And by the way, also, you can take a left turn and tell everybody to go, and you can say, oops, just kidding, go that way, and you can veer everyone back. Like, it's okay. So I think getting comfortable to that rhythm for 160 days of shooting, and 9 months of prep, and 2 years of editing, like, I think you just get, okay, I can take the bullets in the thing. So.
Pablo, what kind
Yeah,
of
well,
director are you?
the thing is that I agree completely. It's just a question of scale. Even when you make a short film, I'm sure there are short film directors.
Yeah.
You know, the protagonist is the film.
Yeah.
You know, always. It's never the director. We always put the title of the film and the director, but we know that there's a lot of credits. There are producers, there are production designers, cinematographers. And as I make more films, you know, you gain some confidence. And I think what I learned the most from all my films is that for me, directing is listening. It's just listening more. We have the final choice.
Yeah,
You know, we
exactly.
have the final decision. But I remember when I made my first film, I thought a director had to be like Eric von Stroheim and scream and have the answer. But you don't have the answer for everything. It's just, as you said, it's a gigantic monster. You know, the scale is different. European films, but that Hollywood films. But the process is actually the same, and you have to let yourself go. I always make the metaphor for me, it's just like, I feel like I'm in a rodeo, I'm a clown, and I'm in a gigantic bull, and I just have to keep going and with a big smile and just, everything is fine, let's go, it's gonna be great, but sometimes you don't know what you're doing. But
I'll bring you both back to the world of Wicked, not to the rodeo.
Yeah.
So for a second, because we are gonna see one of the exclusive clips that, by the way, you are one of the few, I mean, the first ones in Spain that you are going to see this, and one of the few in the whole world. I think that only at the Mills Festival has been shown this
and they didn't even
clip.
see this clip. And so I had to beg Universal to let me bring this to you guys. So please, no recording. Don't comment on the thing. I mean, it's not a big moment, but it is a big moment. But I won't ruin the movie for you, but don't tweet or anything like that.
Thank you for doing my job, because yes, no recording, please. No electronic devices.
Or you will be killed.
Could you set it exactly? Could you set the room up to what we are going to see? No good deed.
It's not the whole thing. It's
it's
a snippet. I wanted to bring the whole thing, but it's a little too epic, to be honest. But this is when the Wicked Witch has been sort of ousted and has lost everything she's had, and she's like, "You want me to be wicked? I'll fucking be wicked." And then she sort of owns this power, and the monkeys change to her army, and there's a whole thing. Again, you're only going to get a snippet, so you're going to have to see the whole thing eventually. But here's a little hint.
Okay,
of
this
no
is a
good deed.
little
Cynthia Erivo.
So on this note, let's roll it. Wonderful.
Imagine watching her do that live.
Yeah.
And we had built, the building a little bit, but it's a lot of VFX around her. And so she's essentially alone in a room, and she has to give that much. And it was just so, every time we did it, she would be exhausted because she's just giving. And what I love about musicals, I think is the best genre out there, but is that it's not like you get to do it. It's not like, music and dance on a story. Like, that's the power of the musical, is that you get new tools to get inside of a character. It's not a showy thing. Yeah. It's how do you get into, it's more than a soliloquy. You get to see the images and experience what it feels like to be in their head. And you have melody, 3 notes can communicate what a paragraph of dialogue never could. And then you have brilliant lyrics, subversive lyrics from Stephen Schwartz that just tickle at something that's not even has anything to do with the story. And then you have movement. What does it feel like when you have that kind of fury and rage? And I can make her take off into the sky. What does it feel like to go back into memories and feel this? Like in the stage show, she just is sitting there and singing about her past. We can actually take the audience, like Back to the Future, go back in to that moment that we all witnessed a year ago, and knowing that people had seen it a year ago and they lived with this scene. We can see that moment, but through a different perspective. That maybe she didn't do it for the right reasons. Maybe she just wanted attention. She's questioning herself, and then you can bring it all the way back to the monkeys coming out and getting geared up so that she can be the Wicked Witch. So, to me, like, you can use all these elements to express your characters in ways that maybe the audience doesn't even know, because in the end they're like, "Wow, that was a big number," but like they felt that thing. And I think that's, to me, the musical genre is, and remember, we shot these at the same time, both movies, 1 and 2 at the same time. So we had like 20-something numbers that we had to prep and rehearse and choreograph and stage before ever shooting 1 frame of movie 1. And so all of that had to be in our head of where we were emotionally at what time. So that's a moment in what we were creating.
And that brings me to a question, because you were living with this universe for 6 months, I think it was the shooting. But then you have been for a year alone with your small team editing. I mean, does it feel like a disconnection there? Because yes, you're here, you're listening to her singing live on your set, under your direction, but then you are just with your digital, with your computer, with your small team. How does it, where do you feel more comfortable? Do you feel on the set?
I think that I feel more comfortable. I'm much more introvert. I like being at my computer and like tweaking something and getting ready to show it. I think shooting is like I have to be a different person, and I love that person.
Eric Bogenstråhen.
Yeah, exactly. When I'm talking about the movie, I have to turn into a different person. I like that person, but I have to act more like I know what I'm doing in that, and I have to encourage people to come and play with me. And so I love the process of it because it forces me to be someone I'm usually not. I look at it. My dad, when he would cook in the kitchen, and it was very similar. Like in the back, he's like squeezing the lemon, chopping the stuff, and getting all the spices and getting everything in place. He's not making the meal; he's just getting all the ingredients. I think that's what shooting's like. It really helps me because it doesn't force me to say, I'm shooting this scene. This is happening right now. It's like, no, guys, we are getting the ingredients. Go spicier, squeeze it harder. I'll protect you, don't worry, but just go for it. And then it allows us to just let go of any fear and doubt and instead play. And then when we get to the edit room, that's the walk. That's where we get to a little bit here, a little here, there, here. Hey, would you taste this a little bit? What do you think? Oh, too spicy? Okay, I like it spicy. We're gonna keep it like that. Or, oh, you're right, I'm gonna add a little lemon, or whatever it is. Like, I can't cook, I can do microwave, but I imagine cooking like this in the most romantic way. And so I love the edit room, and we tweaked 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
This one's harder because it's a lot of VFX, so I had to be very careful what I tweaked. But I enjoy everybody. It's very different.
No, but it's crazy. You're going from a set that is like a war. It really is a war. It has life of its own, and then you go to the post-production, to the editing room, and I can see you going with some coffees, from frappuccino with milk without lactose, and I'm kind of like, oh, and it's just another thing. So it's just kind of like, in my case, I think definitely the set is great. It's a lot of energy, and it's something that you have to go through. It's like giving birth. But the post-production, the amount of editing and just being like, you need both.
Simmering.
I think it's just
and that editing too is not just cut.
Cutting.
It's the color. Oh my gosh, green is insane. There's so many different greens, and every format we change it to, we just looked at, like, we had our P3, then we changed it to the Dolby version, and you're like, oh my gosh, the greens are expanded, and that's not her skin anymore. And then the yellow brick road, in a movie like this, oh my gosh, that doesn't look like the yellow brick road. That looks like the honey road. We gotta change, we gotta tweak that. And then when you start to tweak yellow, their skin changes, and it's like a whole mess. I mean, it's very, and then the mix. Oh my gosh, the mix, especially for us who love sound. There's scenes where we had score, that we had a 100-piece orchestra do the score, and 2 weeks ago we were like, get rid of the score, let's have silence, and you do it, and you set up this musical number, one of our new ones, and instead of sort of ebbing in with an intro and everyone getting ready, it's like dead silent. And you have to trust the audience that they're going to be silent there, so you have to be confident. But even those little touches, or when they're singing, do you hear their footsteps or not? Stephen Schwartz, no, I don't want to hear the footsteps. I'm like, if you don't hear the footsteps, it feels recorded. I need to hear the door close, and then it has to be on the beat. Are they closing it on the beat or not? So all these little details I just love.
I'm just going, you're telling that I'm seeing myself going through, I'm making, definitely, you're rewriting, I think every single step in the process is, as you said, when you talk with your crew, you talk about emotions. So you're rewriting, I feel rewriting in the mix. It's very, people might think it's not important, but I think just exactly what you said about, because you recorded live the songs, which is amazing. They were singing live on the set. So, but then, you have to make that feeling that is live, and then you need to hear the, I can see that, but then every key member is kind of like defending, everybody. I understand the DP, the musician, so the composer is, so you have to kind of, I think, be the oil of all these different crew members, no? But yeah,
That's actually a great point, because I think that in a movie like this, and you have the best of the best,
Yeah.
the sound designers, the thing,
But
they're giving you 120%. And I think what I used to do in a movie I did a while ago where I had a big stuff, I said yes to everything. Oh yeah, oh yeah. More. And then you felt, and then you had just giant gunshots and giant explosions, and then the scores hitting, and it was like overwhelming. And I didn't know how to stop the train.
yeah.
But what I learned, you're the director, you have to stop the train. Actually saying no, deleting, it's like marble. You gotta like delete the things, and you will find clarity, and you will, and I think that's what's changed my filmmaking more than ever. I am able to say no to some people who I very much respect and are definitely giving me more than I have asked, but giving me really good stuff. But I'm like, this is not a moment for music.
Yeah.
This is a moment for hearing her breathe.
I hope that you don't tell me no, because now is the time to introduce the other exclusive clip that you have brought. Is Alphaba Visit Glinda?
Yes. Oh, yes. So this is when Elphaba and Galinda see each other for the first time since the first movie. They have felt each other but never said. So in the show, there's a lot of lines that you feel like you have to do. They're classic lines, but they're different tone. And with these amazing actors, it was great to see Ariana grow as an actor in this, and Cynthia Erivo grow as an actor. And we had many debates about how do you make that line? It's not a joke moment. It's like, okay, they don't play it as a joke. Let's just say it's the banter that they have. They're clever people, or let's change the line. And so this is one of those scenes that could just be, there's phrases that were said on stage that in a certain way, but they present it in so different. How do you see each other? How do you see your best friend that you haven't seen in years, and your lives have taken opposite worlds? And what does that feel like?
Again, no electronic devices, please. What we're going to see is exclusive, and let's roll it. Jon, we are going to open for question and answers with the audience, but while they gather microphones, their thoughts, again, you can ask in Spanish or English, don't be shy. We had one question over there, and one over here too. But
I have a question.
yes,
too.
please.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Let's go, Pablo.
Sorry.
I'm taking advantage of the moment. Okay, the thing is that I think it's great you chose to show those two clips, because the first is spectacular. But this is why we want to see this film. It's just the emotion, the connection. I think Ariana and Cynthia, I just talk them like I know them, like I have worked with them. But there's the chemistry is amazing. I think you see them, how they look at each other. It's so wonderful. I just wanted to, it has been amazing to work with both of them. And
Yeah, they were so present. They really brought. When they were first auditioning, I knew they were the roles when I felt like they were living in these roles. It wasn't playing Galinda from the show, and it wasn't playing Elphaba. They were, and Ari would talk about this was her life. She was like, when she sings, couldn't be happier. She's like, I have to do that every day. I have to go out when I'm feeling not great.
Yeah.
And she's like, my life is changing right now, and people still look to me to give them light. She's like, I don't know how to deal with both sides of this, and this role really helps me kind of find a frame for it. And Galinda's journey in movie 2, it is to try to figure out who is she? Which reflection is she going to be? When is she going to have the courage to pop her own bubble? And she's like, I haven't had courage this whole time. Like you, Ariana Grande with the most followers in the world, the most popular girl. She's like, exactly. I don't know where to go. I don't know where to turn. And maybe doing this movie will help me find it. And while shooting this movie, I saw her find it. I saw Cynthia affect her life, and I saw Ari affect Cynthia's life in ways. And so in a scene like this,
I feel it.
all I had to say, I didn't have to do much. It was like, how would you see each other if you hadn't seen each other? Like, imagine you guys are now on your own tours, and you haven't said anything. What would you say? And that little laugh that they have brings you back to who they were, but they're different people, and I just loved it.
But I honestly, I think this is what makes this film so spectacular, so special. The emotion, the story, the character, the connection. And as you said, as a director, when you see magic and the emotion is there, you just sit in the back seat. You just stay back and just say, okay, action and cut, and you know that you have it. I love that scene. It's amazing.
And as audience, you just cry when you see them like this. So
I
that's
know.
the love of it.
I love when she goes to hug. She like hugs her harder
Yeah, it's
than
You're
Cynthia's
twins.
ready for. Yeah, you know. I told her that. I whispered like, "Go for the hug and see what happens." And she like went for it. But they really showed me that these are real people, because when you're doing Wicked and you're playing off a character that has existed in literature for so long, it feels like you're doing a bit.
Yeah.
Oh, the Wicked Witch. The whole joke is it's the Wicked Witch. And Cynthia's like, no, it's Elphaba, it's me. I would wear jewelry. I would have some self-respect.
Yeah.
In the script, it's like she wears a black rag. She's like, I'm not wearing a rag. If I have to make this character real, I have to give her real things. She would have books by her. She wouldn't have nothing. In this line, there's a line in here that's scripted that's like, she has sticks in her hair. And then Glinda asks, like, have you been eating? And Cynthia's like, why would she ask me if I'm eating? Of course I'm eating. I don't have a stick. I'm not dirty.
Yeah.
And so we had to adjust it on the day. We're like, you're right. Let's just like play out how find the truth of this. And that really shifted the tone and allowed us to go into the comedy and out, because when you're leaning into the truth, the life is absurd. And so it can go there. So yeah.
Wonderful. And I think we have some questions, I believe. Does she have the microphone? Who has the microphone? She asked here, there was someone here, you, the second, and I think there is one in the very back. Well, now there are several in the very back. So hold on, first here in the...
Hi, wow. Thank you so much for sharing with us here, for sharing with us about your work here.
Oh, there. That's like there. I
Yeah.
seriously was looking
Yeah.
over there.
Yeah,
Got you.
Yeah.
They are asking for the microphone up there.
You talked all the time about the timing, the rhythm. And also as a dancer, I know the special movements from everyone is about the timing. I want to ask you two things. How's your timing in editing? Because it was very shocking for me when I see First Time in the Heights. I was like, he has it. He has this timing in the vision, not just in the movie like that, in the vision of what you want to tell. How editing goes with this timing. And also I want to know, how do you work with the choreographs of your movies? Because they have some ideas about your shootings, or they give you see the choreo and you get the vision. How do you work with them?
Great question. I get my rhythm from my tap dance days. No, I love rhythm. I love it. I made a movie when I was in college called Silent Beats, and it was all about, it was all to tap rhythms and everybody's impression of everyone else when they saw them in a store, and how their stereotype of them was very different than who they actually were. And at a certain point, it sort of goes silent. The idea was that the silent beats are the most powerful beats in a rhythm, and that if we were aware of those, then they could, anyway, it's a whole story. Anyway, but I love that. I actually struggle with it because sometimes I'm too rhythmic. Sometimes I like to hit on the thing. And what I found in making movies is it's not actually about rhythm. Yes, you can get into pockets of rhythm, but the most powerful moments are when you go off tempo. And when you're doing a musical like this, of course, the songwriters want it to be on tempo. They want Defying Gravity to be on Defying Gravity tempo. And when I was with the girls, what we really learned when they're singing live, and they could hit the tempo, of course they can do it. But the moment where we said, forget the track, get the piano, get the live pianist here, you go on your own tempo. Pianist, you follow them. Then it came to life. Then it was like dialogue. They could do it at whatever tempo, and they could change it. And couldn't be happier. You'll see that too. She could sing it to the tempo, the way we all expect it, the way it's written, the way it's intended, or she can pause for a moment before she says, "Isn't it?" To me, that's where my lungs like go out of my breath. Like so I think that those moments are what movies can do. I think editing is a rhythm anyway, and so I'm very, but I always have to fight it in a little bit because I know how to get it on beat, but I have to be careful not to get it too on beat, and get out of the way sometimes of something that's happening. That scene in itself could have a rhythm. In fact, probably was written with a rhythm. But the way they were doing it wasn't a rhythm. For Good, for instance, that's a really difficult one because it's essentially a pop song in the middle of a musical. Like, it is nuts to bolts, not like a musical song. It has the verses and it does the thing. And so it's really hard to find, like, this is the most important emotional part of our movie. How do we make a song suddenly feel not like, and we've heard every cover imaginable, we've seen so many people do it, how do we make a song feel like it's the emotional height of our movie? And you're already stuck in this structure. And you kind of have to stick to it because it's for good. How can you change it? But the way they did it and the way they found their ins, and maybe you're off tempo in the beginning as you come in, and maybe they're back and forth, the beginning back and forth is a little bit off tempo, but once they get in sync, it is fully in tempo and you get to feel that. And maybe it falls apart in the middle, comes back, and by the end it just is whispers that have no tempo and have no music. It was finding that kind of, going into that kind of detail that was really important. Working with my choreographer, I'm very lucky. I've worked with my cinematographer, Alice Brooks, since college. We did our first musical in college. You know, we did our own journeys, but we got together on In the Heights again, which was so fun, and so that was great. And the choreographer of In the Heights, Christopher Scott, also did Wicked. We had done these like web series called The Legion of Extraordinary Dancers, or the LXD. And they're superhero dancers that had like no dialogue, but they were like, and we did every genre, like every episode they were like 10-minute episodes. But if you look up LXD, you should. I'm actually very proud of it. We were young, we had no money, and we were doing these superhero comic book like dances. It was crazy. But we got to cut our teeth on, hey, how can dance be in a noir? How can dance be in a Western? How can dance be in a drama or a comedy? And we got to make all our mistakes there and learn, oh, okay, it doesn't work there, but it's really interesting here. And so we've had enough experience where we can really trust each other. So it's not written in the script, the dance numbers. They're there. They're like set placeholders so that our production knows kind of maybe what to build, so they can kind of maybe budget it. But at some point in pre-production, me and him are sitting there with Alice, and we're like spouting out ideas, and we're drawing things and coming up, and then we'll present that to our heads of departments. And I'll say, okay, you've read Popular, but this is what Popular is to us. She goes into this thing, and she's not just around a bed. Like, every contraption opens up and is more clothes and more clothes. In fact, the whole room has been her closet the whole time, and Elphaba hasn't even known that. And like, that's the gag. And at some point, we had to go in the closet, and it turns into a pink world. And then I remember getting the note in front of everybody. Someone says, well, is that her magic then? Is that magic? And we're like, oh yeah, we have to be careful. We have this form of musical that we can be abstract, but we cannot make it real, because if she has magic, then that defeats the purpose of the whole thing. So then we rework it. And we're saying, okay, don't ever go in that closet. Everything has to be physical. Everything has to be built. And so then Chris goes and works with Ari. I say, find out the way Ari works. And so she'll, or find out the way Ari moves, because we didn't know at that point. So he finds out all this information. He starts to put some dressing on, like some ways of making it work. Our set people are building the contraptions, even though they're really clunky, but they're making like little ones. And so you're starting to build that up, and I need the contraption to be different. I need that. And then in those rehearsals, I'm starting to work with them. I'm watching it. I'm saying, it's not really funny, or I'm not getting the moment. She's not having enough room to play. It's getting too technical. So then we open it up, and I keep doing this, and I cut it together, and we keep working it out as we get costumes, as we get the set. We're designing the set around what it needs to be. I need more room here so that closet can. And the dorm, we realize that the contraptions are working, but we have people inside as well. So it's a giant puppet. That dorm room is where you can fit people inside, underneath, on the side, so that those things can open smoothly. And then we can present that to everybody else and shoot it. And so it's a process. So imagine that for every single one. And anyway, it's really fun.
So now can I squeeze? Because I think we will only have time
Sorry,
for another
I'm so
question.
sorry. My answers are 20 minutes long.
That was wonderful, by the way, but I need to cut.
We don't even get to rehearsals. I just talk the whole time.
We all talk a lot. But we had another question here. I don't know if we will have time for more, but at least this one.
Hi, this is Juanjo González for Broadway World Spain.
Cool.
Congratulations on your work. I loved it. And I also loved your explanation, because you look like a kid having so much fun with this world. So the first thing is, I want to know how much of your work on In the Heights helped you move to Wicked. And then when I first heard that Wicked was going to be 2 parts, it looked like a bold decision. What made you do it, as 2 parts instead of just one movie?
In the Heights was complete necessary in order to know how to make Wicked. I'd actually technically never made a musical, even though in my mind Crazy Rich Asians was a musical. And I'd done step-up movies, these dance movies, so they felt like dancicles. But in the Heights, I needed to learn, and working with Lynn and Kiara. Lynn, his lyrics are so important in that, and you have to understand his lyrics. And so learning how important lyrics are. I've done dance, I've done music, but not lyrics. And so I had to learn how to do that. We also shot on the streets of New York City, so we had to make up things of a street that existed, and how can we do that? So that really opened up our communication, our choreographer, Alice, myself, of how to like shoot a sequence, and our editor, so we all had the same team. So then going into Wicked, it's actually a little much harder, but when you don't have a structure and you have to make a structure and you can have anything you want, that's even more daunting. And so we had to figure out how to do that. But all the coordination of pre-records, a live piano on set, how do rehearsals begin with a live band or recording? All these things we had to work out in the Heights was necessary. In terms of splitting the two movies, it was just very clear. When I walked in, they were trying to shove all of it in one movie, and it was like, it doesn't look like Wicked anymore. You just stripped out 4 of the songs. It's 4 of my favorite songs, and then this movie speeding through all the emotional things, the things I had questions about even in the show. You don't even have time in the movie anymore to do it. So it was very clear to me that it had to be one. And I knew they were debating it before, but they were wavering. And I was like, you just have to decide. We're doing 2 movies. We're committing. Otherwise, both movies will be not great. So, and then we realized, oh, Elphaba's journey, because it ends with Defying Gravity. Oh, this movie, Galinda's journey to break her bubble. And of course, Elphaba's journey as well, but like, we need to see the person who's privileged pop their own bubble and come in for the fight at some point. And that's when the friendship goes in the other way. So anyway, that.
One more question. We had one in the back. They were first. What I don't know is, where is the microphone? I mean, in the back we had many, but I saw from the beginning one in the middle. Where is the microphone? Oh, go in there, go in there. Can they pass it to the one that had the hand up? Sorry, I'm not playing
the hardest
favorites.
part about splitting in two is you know, people have all their opinions about it. So I had to live for like 2-3 years about everybody saying how bad of an idea it was, and you just have to stick to it. So, thank you.
So, can you shoot the question?
Yes. Hi, Jon. I'm Miranda. Nice to meet you.
Hello, how are you?
Hello. I have a quite long question.
Great, I have a long answer.
What do you think has been the key to your success in creating a truly compelling and relevant musical in an era when Broadway-style productions can feel like a dated art form for younger audiences?
That's a good question. I don't know if there is a philosophy around it. What I know is that I love musical theater. I think it speaks to me. I think it spoke to me when I was a kid in my room alone, listening to it. It was always about an outsider. It was always about the underdog. And it always had their I Want song that made me dream bigger. And I think movie musicals made me appreciate cinema at its biggest state. It reminded me that most of the best movie musicals were about something bigger than itself, whether that's, you know, Cabaret or Sound of Music or Singing in the Rain, West Side Story. And so to me, making a musical means something more than just what it's about. It's an emotion that we're trying to get people to feel in someone else's perspective, but emotion much deeper than just seeing them feel it. We will get you to feel it because you're going to hear these songs, and you're going to feel that movement. And so, for me, that was the focus of Wicked. No matter how all the sets and all the things, I knew how to do that. I can do that in my sleep. It wasn't about that. The quote that they said on the stage, that they said, the one piece of advice to me, they said, "It's the girls, stupid." No matter what you're doing, know, whenever you have a question, it's the girls, stupid. That will always be your answer. And I think that's what we focused on. And then you have to pick the right girls. Ariana, Cynthia, they came in. no question. We saw so many people. It was no questions. They were the right ones to bring these words that I had heard so many times. When they sang it, when Cynthia says, something has changed within me, something is not the same. I was like, I think we all feel that. And so both of them to know that we have those people on the ground to communicate this message and that they're going to bring so much. I think all of that together is what makes Wicked Wicked. I don't know if there's some sort of thing. I think just you have to love it and believe in it so dearly, because that's the power of why you make a movie musical in my heart. Yeah.
And this is a wrap. I mean, thank you so much. I'm sorry for the questions. Thank you, Jon. Thank you, Pablo. I need to ask you one more favor. If you could set up now, we are going to see the trailer of the movie for Wicked for Good.
Oh, yes.
So if you could
You've
just
probably seen
say,
the trailer.
Yeah.
But it's great. It's fun. Go see it. I don't know.
Exactly. If you want to say just one final word.
No, I will just say that last year when the girls were doing their interviews, they would always cry. And everyone's like, why are they crying? It's like a high school movie. And, okay, yes, the end is dramatic, but that's about it. It's because we had lived both movies already. Yeah. Because we had already done For Good. We had already seen them live, and we'd seen them leave. And I think before anyone saw any one frame, we had lived what you're going to experience when you see For Good eventually. Not tonight, sorry. I tried.
November 21st.
Imagine knowing all of that information before anyone ever sees it. That's what they were living. There was a lifetime. And so now that it gets to go out, it's weird for us because it's saying goodbye to a lifetime. And when they sing For Good, they are singing about two characters, but they're singing Cynthia and Ari. Yeah. They're looking at each other and saying, what a journey. How much have we grown? This is before they know what happens after. And when I hear it, I don't hear them singing. I hear about it with the crew and all the hours and hours and thousands of people that it took to put this together. So, and in the end, people will remember this as Wicked, as both movies, not just one. This is the work of our lifetime. I always dreamed about being able to do this movie or a movie like this and never thought I would be able to. So it's like, I'm so excited for people to finally get the other side.
Thank you, Jon, again. Thank you, Pablo. Thank you, Academy. Thank you, all of you that were here today. So hope you enjoyed it. Thanks a lot. So it's a wrap. Jon, after you, Pablo.
Okay. Go and see it. It's great. I've seen it.
Oops. Go and see it. Okay.
Thank you.
Jon. Oh, yes. Roll the clip. I forgot the most important part. Thank you.